Senator Kamala Harris went on Good Morning America today to announce her plans for the 2020 election.
I am running for president of the United States.
Well,
and I'm very excited about it.
Well, Harris released an official campaign video detailing her plans. She also invited supporters to join her at a kickoff rally in her hometown of Oakland next Sunday. Melissa Caen, I hope I said that right. Melissa is a political reporter for our San Francisco station, KPIX. How are you?
I'm doing well, Vladimir, and my name is Caen.
Caen.
But that's okay. I forgive you because you guys pronounced Kamala Harris right, and that's the most important thing.
I've been practicing.
It is not Kamala, it is Kamala.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've been practicing in the mirror.
You know how it is. Sometimes you get pronos and sometimes you don't. Thank you, Melissa, for joining us to talk about this. So Harris was elected to the U.S. Senate in 2016 after serving as California's Attorney General, as you know. What's her reputation like, though, in her home state?
So she's incredibly popular in California, and especially here in the Bay Area, where we've elected her DA, and then we're a substantial voter base when she did run for Attorney General and then run for Senate later. So very happy to see her there in terms of what Californians are thinking.
She is very, very popular in California. It's a blue state, a very, very blue state. And she's, of course, not shy about criticizing the president. But, that's not going to really help her to stand out, I think, in the field of candidates. So what do you think she's going to focus on in terms of issues to kind of differentiate between the other candidates out there?
Well, if you've been watching her for the last year or so, every time she gets a chance, she drops into a conversation that she was a prosecutor. I think that's going to be the thing that she's going to continue to focus on as the distinguishing characteristic. Both because it sort of implies like a law and order position, but also because it implies a sort of fighter for victims and fighter on behalf of victims. And so that, it looks like it's going to be her sort of overarching philosophy. Her sort of slogan going forward is for the people. And I think that all ties back to her years, 20 years as a prosecutor here in the Bay Area, and the thing that's going to set her apart from other candidates.
Well, that's the question, right? I mean, there are going to certainly be challenges, given that it's one thing to run a local race, even one at the Senate level. And it's quite a different one to bring that message that has worked so well, as Anne-Marie points out, in a blue state to a national audience across the country. So how will she approach that challenge?
Well, I think she is very, very careful. She's never lost an election. And to your point, while local elections, even statewide elections, aren't the same, she's very, very cautious. Some people would say to a fault, but in any event, if she's going to be moving forward with this presidential run, you can bet she has a very clear path laid out in her mind and among her advisors for how she's going to get there. She just does not act off the cuff. She's not spontaneous in that way, and she wouldn't throw her hat into the ring unless there was a very, very specific plan on how to get from A to B. So she's going to be out there presenting herself as a prosecutor. She made the announcement on Martin Luther King Day. You can expect very, very calculated events going forward. I want to point out she was born in an Oakland hospital, but she didn't live there when she was younger. She lived in Berkeley, actually, at the time, and grew up there. But she does a lot of focusing and trying to talk about Oakland roots. So that's just another example of how she is working to kind of shore up a persona as someone, who's a fighter from the Bay Area.
I think it's an interesting point, Melissa, because one of the things that I've always remarked upon with Senator Harris is how tough she is, especially when she's sitting in those Senate confirmation hearings.
You do say that often.
I do say, man, she is very, very tough, and she knows the law very, very well. She's when folks that are trying to be confirmed by the Senate come across her cross-examination, it tends to be a grilling. But I wonder about that personal touch that national candidates need, that Ronald Reagan had, that Senator, then candidate Barack Obama had when he was running for the presidency, Bill Clinton, even some would say Donald Trump, who's been able to connect with people on a level that many candidates struggle to do. And I wonder, what is the sense of folks in California about that?
Well, even for folks who aren't politically aligned with her, she really is a nice lady. She is very easy to talk to. She's really down to earth, and I think very few people are going to meet her, sort of Brett Kavanaugh aside, are going to meet her and have a bad experience with that. She absolutely knows how to talk to regular people, and I think she'll do a great job connecting. Now, one thing you brought up is how great she is at cross-examining people while she's sitting on that Senate Judiciary Committee, but I'll tell you, in the course of her elections, she hasn't debated very much, and the times that she has debated, they've not been extraordinary performances. So that's one thing she's going to have to probably work on and hone as she moves forward, as she gets into these primary debates, is really working on those skills, because while she can talk to people individually and certainly cross-examine a witness, there's that part in the middle that I think she's got to be doing some work on, because she just hasn't had to flex those muscles in a while, and we just haven't seen her as a standout when she does debate.
Really interesting. Melissa Caen, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.